been a while with the old Triumph. We're waiting on the new ammo carbs to turn up, to be in stock and then to turn up actually.
So I don't even know if the ignition on.
That's what I was wondering, John. Yeah, now, no, it wasn't on. Now it's on. That's such an amazing sound.
Yeah, yeah.
No chokes on, is it?
No.
So we struggled with consistent idle, didn't we?
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. Left bank's a bit smoky, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's funny rich, isn't it?
On that side.
Yeah. You think so?
Huh?
So you think so?
It sounds great though.
Sounds like it's not developed. I reckon this thing's not firing properly.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I think electric ignition and ammo carbs. Yeah. And the rounder rear.
Yeah. Huh?
The rounder rear. Get the rounder rear panel, no?
Yeah, I reckon it's running well on the left and the right bank, but not the left.
Yeah. I mean, I still come back to the fact that this is a 50-year-old bike, and the fact that it starts and sounds like that, you know, I don't even care that there's a little bit of smoke.
Yeah.
It's amazing, you know.
Yeah, I think it is.
So here you go, guys. John's here. So I very gently explained earlier, John, what we're looking for. So from a timing point of view, guys, we have your electronic ignition in here, yes? This one is not an electronic ignition. This is a mechanical one. So as the engine spins, it sets off a click, and that does the spark. As the engine goes faster, there are weights in there, and that's how the spark advances, but they regularly get stuck, they regularly seize. Now on this side, if this case didn't have this inspection panel here, then we would have been a little bit screwed. This is what we needed to see, because that means we can put on and time the electronic ignition. That's great news, because under this case there should be a line sticking out here that tells us how and where to time the bike. So at the moment we're in a good position. Now the last thing, here you go. So there's the mechanical point. So it's complex, it's very complex. But as the engine spins, the points click and that sends the spark. That's the kind of simple, or it sends the signal for the coil to send the spark. But the centrifugal weights that are in here somewhere regularly seize and stuff. So as the engine goes faster, it doesn't spark at the right time. The electronic ignition is much more reliable, and it's an acceptable upgrade on classic bikes. To be fair, it's an acceptable one. What we kind of wanted to look at today is how this comes off. What you have to do is you should have a slide hammer for this. So you'd pull out this bolt a little bit, and then you'd slide hammer it out. But that's kind of okay. We're not worried about that. Now the other thing is, we thought the coils were up under the tank, but they're not. The coils are here. We need to see if these are 12 volt or 6 volt coils. Now they're going to be 12 volt coils because that's what they were. But when you're upgraded to an electronic ignition, it advises that you use a 6-volt set, because the 6-volt plus the 6-volt equals 12. Is that right, John?
Yeah.
And then the electronic ignition is designed to work best on 12 as a whole.
With 5 to 7 ohms.
Because of the ohms, that's right. Okay, so we're gonna, I think this pulls up, John. Yeah, this slides out, John. So we're gonna look at the coils because we will be switching to 6-volt. And then we're going to take off this side plate here to see if there is a timing mark, which there should be. If there is, we're sorted. And then we'll have carbs turning up. Potentially, I think the next step for us, if it turns up quicker than the carbs, is the electronic ignition. And we can test them with these carbs at the moment. These carbs are doing the basic job. But we are definitely switching to... Hey, there you go. So on the top it should say 12-volt. It says there at the bottom. That's it. They're pretty old though.
Yeah, they're
He said, didn't he? He said no point changing the whole system and not changing the coils. Looks like it says 12 at the bottom, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I'll clean it up a bit, yeah.
Yeah. Oh! Don't want to do that.
Neat though.
Yeah, it's interesting, very interesting. So there you go, guys. We're gonna play with this a little bit. What we'll do next is we'll take off the inspection panel on the left, and we'll show you what we mean in regards to the timing mark, if of course it has one. So for our video reference, guys, the black and white wire is the positive on the left coil, and the white wire, which has a yellow, is the negative on this. Normally a black would be a negative on any other bikes, but this is 50 years old, so it's a different system. Now John was saying that the coils somehow link up. Yes, they do, but somebody has already done it on this one. Now what you would have had before is 2 separate whites and yellows, and they would have gone to 2 separate sides. Someone's just made their life easier and they've linked them. So that's fine. There's no reason why you'd change that unless you felt better having the 2 set up, but it makes no difference at all. It goes to the same terminal there, so that's all good. And on this side it's exactly the same. The white is the negative and the black is the positive. It's black and yellow on this case. So for our reference, we now know our wiring. Might be good to take that with us if we go to the shop tomorrow, John.
Yeah. Because
if we want a 6-volt equivalent,
yeah,
we just want it to be roughly the same size.
well, it must be exactly the same size. Yeah. It's not so nice.
Yeah, but
It's kind of rattling around.
but I don't know if it works like that, mate. I don't know if they do them exactly to your size specifications. It's very cool. It's very cool. All right, great. So we need to take this left inspection panel off, John, and see if we've got a timing mark. Let's hope we have, because then we can do the electronic ignition. Okay, guys. So what we were telling you about, a little bit of oil spill there. We'll clean that up. What I was telling you about was this here is the inspection cover. Now, some of these old Triumphs had it and some didn't. This was just a cover. If you wanted to put an electronic ignition on and you didn't have an inspection cover like this, you have to take the whole cover off and you have to put on a rotation wheel that gives you the degrees on, and then you do it. But this one, see this little line down there? It looks like a bolt, but it's not. It's a pointer. Basically, you rotate the engine until it points at that line there, and then you set up your electric ignition. So that's easy and straightforward enough. I've just had someone messaging me online. John said to say it on the videos, and he's telling me to wear plastic rubber gloves when I work on bikes. It's a fair shout, guys. You know, we should always worry about our health. But I personally, I have kind of skin irritations, and the gloves just don't work for me. I can't stand wearing them, and it's the same with gloves on motorbikes. When I ride, I don't wear gloves for the same reason. It irritates my skin. So yes, of course, you need to be sensible out there with your when you're working on bikes. Wear some gloves, but ultimately, you get to make these choices in life. That's what living a free life is about. Yes, it's good practice. Yes, it's good practice. Wear gloves and wear all the kit when you're riding, blah blah blah. But if you go out in your shorts, good luck to you. I'm not ever going to dictate or tell you what you should or shouldn't do. And you won't regularly see me wearing plastic gloves because my skin doesn't like them. So back to where we were. We've got one coil out to take with us for reference. We've got the old points out here. That they take a lot of kind of adjusting and stuff, these ones. And what I was reading yesterday was that as the engine spins more and the centrifugal force pushes out the weights, basically then weight seize a lot, so your timing messes up as your revs go higher. I would say that this one was the opposite. We seem to have better engine under some revs, and it's the idle that we struggled with. So I think the electronic ignition is going to sort this out quite well. And yeah, great, I love it. I mean, we've heard this bike plenty of times. It's stunning. The other thing we're looking at, or kind of considering, is with the new carbs coming out here, do we switch to the pancake filters, the round ones, and a round rear panel, which are much more popular, but this is the original panel for this bike. So you have to decide what you do. Personally for me, I'd be going to the rounded rear panels and the pancake filter. I think it looks much better, but I know, John, you're about originality quite a lot. These are the original panels.
It's not really original though,
because it's got the cutout.
because these have been cut out already. This has been cut out of the original panel, so that gap is not original.
No, the gap's not original, but
It should run with an airbox.
should it?
Yeah.
But you could always buy these panels again, couldn't you?
Could do, but the guy who bought you recommended to get that
The rounder
60s
ones.
look.
I agree.
Go for the rounded.
I agree. I would have gone for the rounded. I
And the
agree.
rounded seat as well.
I thought this is the.
Well, no, the rounded seat comes down like this.
Okay, I thought this was the more desirable seat.
Well, this is more of the 70s look. The 60s look had the rounded seat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a stunning bike. Stunning. Alright, let's keep going.
What I'm worried about is pulling it apart and...
Okay guys, so we're changing the points. These are the mechanical points. Lots of things that can go wrong in here. A real hardcore enthusiast might prefer them, but saying that, I've not met many people who have said the mechanical's worth keeping. Actually, most people do switch to electric. It's just so much better. We've got an online tutorial as to how to fit the pazon, the exact one we've got, and we've got the manual to show this. But ultimately, you want to set the bike up for top dead centre, and for later when it comes to setting up the pazon. And then you pop this out, so you take that bolt off. All of them, they kind of fall out, don't they, John? And then you're left with the back, the kind of round running plates.
Yeah.
And to get the running plates out, you screw a bolt or something into here, a long one, and the actual tool is a slide hammer. But we're gonna use a bolt to make sure we're straight and pull it out, using similar kind of tactics as a slide hammer, actually. So technically, the first thing we need to do is set up to top dead center. Now, how you can do that, there's many ways, but ultimately popping the spark plugs out, putting the bike into gear and turning the back wheel is the best way to do that, rather than kind of cranking engines around and stuff like that. But we've got our shelter and that's all good. Alright guys, so you look in there, you've got two lines. Now I need to double check using the video what line you're setting up for. Is there two actually? Is there two straight lines or one? Some have one, some have two. Ah, there's only one, that's perfect. Next bit is very simple. We need to get this line here. Oh, sorry guys, that's on my very special lighting setup. We need to get this line here, pointing to this line on here. You can see there's a little line coming out there, it's a pointer. That's it. Once that's pointing there, you're at top dead center. So I'll show you again. That line there needs to be down here, pointing to that pointer there. Right, how you do it? Ah, there you go. Hang on, John. Hang on, John. Right, we're gonna tuck tiny bit more. Oh, we've gone a little bit far there, mate. So I think you need to keep going. This is gonna be fun. Okay, a little bit more. Oh, stop, stop, stop. You need a tiny, tiny, tiny flick there, John. Tiny. You went too far, mate. You've got strong hands, mate. Right, you've got about an inch.
An inch?
Yeah, in my world. Right, yeah, a little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more.
Oh.
Nope, you're still off a little bit more. Tiny, tiny bit, John. Gotta be gentle, mate. Stop. You're practicing. Come and have a look.
So this pad is not really exact.
Yeah, of course it does, but it's hard to get exact, isn't it? You know how we're going to get exact, John?
Use the back wheel.
Yeah, chuck it in gear now.
Yeah.
And we'll just move it forward a bit. Alright guys, so this is the Triumph build at the moment. Every now and again, just check down there again that you're pointing on that line, which we are, of course. Now we have popped out the bottom. So what happens is, this bit's on and it's press fitted, okay? It's press fitted into there. And how it's press fitted is by the bolt. So you don't tap it or anything. The bolt, original bolt, press fits it in and it goes in. Now what we did was we found a bolt that fits, something kind of like that. And we put it into there, and then we very gently tapped it out. We put the vice grips on the bottom, very, very gently tapped it out. It kind of needs to stay straight. It's, don't worry too much. Don't be over fragile, but you're pulling it out. And then I think it's probably time to look at the pazon, John, which I've got over there in the garage. Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Because we need to find somewhere to set up. What was your thought? Somewhere here, John, was it?
You could go through these.
Because I thought the other option
Underneath the frame.
was here.
Yeah, that's where we'll put it.
Oh, what, the main unit?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so we run the wires up.
Underneath there and down the frame.
Yes. You don't want to run it down the exhaust. Alright, so.
So bring it in there.
Either here or there or anywhere.
We'll like that, isn't it?
Yeah, come on in. I mean, we're under here, we're alright in all, John. So, what have we got? So we've got, that's obviously the main firing unit. Oh, is that it? That?
Yeah.
That must be the new press fit, maybe.
That's the rotor, yeah.
Oh yes, it's got the, I remember the red dots.
Yeah.
That's right, and you line the red dots up in there.
Yeah.
That's right. And then you've got the main harness. Ah, cool.
And the zippy ties.
And zippy ties, and we've got the instructions. Alright, we've got everything we need. What we're not going to do today, I believe, John, is we're not going to try firing it while we're using 12 volt coils.
Yeah.
But 6 volt coils could potentially come up to that. In fact, I'm going to run down and check right now. Okay guys, so we've got the pazon unit in here and secure. Don't worry about the spark plugs there. Now, the 2 wires that we ran, we have run now, so we've told you about that. That was the these 2 here, white and black and yellow, black and white. Run it along here, down the frame, and back into here. So that is literally our second step. So the first step was getting this kind of down and secure and solid and figuring out where it's all going to go. And then the second step was running that wiring. I think that's the hardest wiring. The rest of the wiring kind of goes here to the coils and to an earth. So that's where we are at the moment. Next step for us then, John, is to get back into top dead center. Yeah. And yeah, we're quite far off. And then look at putting the actual points, the new electronic points in place. So guys, next step for us is you need to put in, I don't know what you call that unit, but it's this unit here.
Magnet.
Is that the magnet? Is it a magnet?
Yeah, it's magnetic.
And then there's a locating pin in there, but this technically doesn't have a locating pin on it. So I think we might have to set it ourselves, John. If it spins, it won't matter, does it?
It's got to spin with the engine.
Yeah.
And it can't move. I'm trying to think. He said something about the fact that there's, on that video, it says there's a groove.
Yeah, and we can see a locating pin, which is in here, guys. There's a locating pin in there. He says on the video that it can only go in one way, but we can't see any obvious sign of a location area on this. So, but let's look it up. Here's the original. So it would have only located on there, you see. Unless we reuse this or something, John, is that right? This bit here.
I don't know, let's have a look.
Okay, we're going to have to look this up, guys, in the manual. So, First plate goes in with the red dot facing 1 down here at the bottom. You can see through this hole, you can see the red dot. Okay, that's it lined up, that's the timing. So you put the first one in loose-ish, so you put the bolt on, but you do want to be able to spin it to get the dot in once this is out. You squash this onto the wire here at the bottom, so the wire is not going through any holes. It's coming out here at the bottom, and then these wires will go up into here and up into here. They actually says, look, it says black and white, and on here it says yellow and black, so that's quite handy. These bolts go in hand tight, you don't need to torque them. Once you're here and set up, and you can see your red dot through the bottom hole. Now the bottom hole is for the Triumphs. I think Nortons and other bikes you use the other hole. Bottom hole is for the Triumphs. And I'm not pretending we're experts, we're actually watching somebody else's video, but this might help you out. Once you're here and happy and these are torqued by hand, you then torque that bottom one by hand as well with an Allen key, and you're set up and ready to go. So technically we're now timed. I've just checked the timing mark on the other side. We're still at top dead center. So that for me is the hardest part of the work. We've got the unit centered somewhere, we've got the main wiring down to there. We couldn't do the work up here because we haven't got the 6-volt coils yet. We've got 12-volt coils. Now, we could have used them, it wouldn't have mattered, but if it doesn't meet the specifications in here, then what's the point? Let's get 2 6-volt ones and hook them up together. So one of the hardest parts technically is done now, guys. That's great. All we do now is we chop these, we tuck them up, we bolt them in, and this bit is all set up. We put the plate back on and we're up and timed. Obviously people can choose their timing. You can retard it a bit or advance it a bit, but that's not for us to do. That'll be for the next kind of mechanic to look at, get a gun on it and see if he or she feels like they want to change the timing. So yes, it's not a lot of work, it's not hard work, but it's concerning work. Yeah. It makes you feel like, because it's big, it makes you feel like, you know, it worries you. But this should be sparking beautifully. I mean, this old mechanical unit is stunning, but it's so busy, and I just don't know what all of these screws do and how to gap it and that. I think that is going to change this. So that's where we are right now. The carbs are off, they're being rebuilt. The Amal carbs, did he say week or two? Yeah. Week or two turnarounds. And so soon we'll have 6-volt coils, we'll have the pazon ignition kit, and we'll have the Amal rebuilt carbs. And I'm so excited for that time, so excited. I'd love to check our timings now, but we've done that spot on, John. Yeah. So I'm not worried. All of the old stuff, keep it, guys, throw it in a box. People love originality. It's not broke. We just wanted to upgrade. Keep it, put it all together. Project 6-volt coils here. Now, when you change your, so that they have the same shape, the same fitting, they're Lucas, they're originals. When you change to a electronic ignition, like the pazon, for example, they advise that you run a 12-volt coil or 2 6-volt coils to equal the 12-volt. I'm not sure exactly what that's about, but that's what they advise, so that's what you do. They're 22 quid each or something, or and also, you know, we're upgrading the electronic ignition system, so do it all. Do it as much as you can afford at this stage. The bike's 50 years old. Do it all. So we've got new coils and ignitions. We put in the pazon unit already. We've got the pazon box, controller box here. The wiring we haven't done yet, but the two coils will of course go into there, and then we'll look at wiring it up. Now, while we're waiting for the Amal carbs to come back, we can still use these, so we can still see that we've got spark and timing when we do this electrics today, so that's good. I'm looking forward to that. So the next step for us is 3 wires here. Now it's something like one goes to an earth on the bike, and then one goes to one of the coils, one goes to the other coil, and then there's a wire in between the two coils like this one that bridges them together, something like that. So we'll look at that now and see if we can get that worked out, but I'm sure we can. We've done well so far. So you get your wiring diagram in the pazon unit anyway, but ultimately it says here, depending on what earth you are, we're positive ground on this Triumph. Up here, red wire to positive on one of the coils, black wire to negative on one of the coils, link a wire between a positive and negative on the other two coils, white wire to the ignition switch, which is the same one that goes to the battery. That's this one here, the black one. And then what else? Is there another wire on there, John? No, the other two have gone to the pazon unit pickup down there. So, I mean, it's always a bit kind of, you know, it makes you a bit overwhelmed, but ultimately it is fairly straightforward, guys. Okay guys, as we said, same system, red to plus, black to minus on the second coil, plus to minus across on the coil. However, you need your plus on the coil to also be to ground, which is on the frame. So John's getting all that done. That's great news. So one of the last parts of the job, guys, is to just connect up the last two wires to the actual, what do you call this? The pulsar,
yeah,
pickup. So last two wires, the rest is all connected up, and then technically we could see if this fired up. Now I have no doubt at this stage it will just fire up, but we'd get to see that. It's quite clear, guys. You've got is it white and black and white on one side, black and yellow on the other side. It's clearly labelled there. Alright guys, first fire up in a long time with the new pazon unit on.
Do you want to do it, Charlie?
I want to see when you put it down and you go shooting straight over that handlebar. Straight into the garage.
That's the roof.
Oh, you got that? I didn't see that.
It don't come up that far, but it's good.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh dear.
That's it, mate. Great escape.
Quick escape.
Okay. Had the choke off, innit?
Is the fuel on?
Yeah.
It's going to do a bit more welly, mate.
No, that's good news. It fired. It fired. That means it's doing something. So guys, just to be clear, these are the Mikuni carbs. We've got the Amals coming. So guys, we've done a lot of fettling with the old carbs out of curiosity, but when we read up online about one cylinder smoking, apparently if your bike's been sitting a while, the oil in the engine, which is meant to continually circulate, sits, and that causes the smoke. So what we did was drain that, and it's only that much, which can go back into the top. It's a kind of constant circulating system, and the smoke's gone. So that's good, that's great. We were a bit panicked about that. and we're just now working with the carb adjustment to get it kind of idling. So guys, we're just going to let the Triumph stretch its legs a little bit. It's been sitting in there a few months now. The new pazon ignition has made such a big difference to its smoothness. It's unbelievable. But we are waiting on the Amal carbs. These Mikunis, we just can't, they're such a pain. Such a pain. And yeah, like, you know, the Amals are off getting rebuilt. What a bike. The look, the sound, wow, look at that. Wow, that is unbelievable. You just don't get that sound anymore, guys. Remember, gear change is on the right on this bike, and back brake is on the left. It's completely... Sounds amazing. It's not smoking on run as well, which is great.